Nigeria opposition. You know, these days when I look at the opposition politics now, you wonder what exactly is going on, and you wonder whether the opposition is really serious. Because if you look at the opposition of 2013 to 2015 that unseated President Jonathan, that opposition then was more cohesive. The opposition came together, people from different parties pulled their structures together and formed the APC. And they now use the united front to confront the ruling government of that day, that of the administration of Jonathan. And they put pressure from within and without Nigeria to see that the elections go as it should, and Jonathan was defeated. Now, what we are seeing is a very divided opposition. We have PDP. PDP is now PDP was in coma. It seems to be on his way to the morgue. Sorry to say, PDP is more or less dead. Most of the governors have left, and I think two or so governors are left. They are left. They're not really that united anymore. You know, PDP is more or less dead. LP is divided. NNPP has been weakened because the only governor they had has switched to APC. You know, so there is a divided opposition, and in the opposition coalition ADC, there does not appear to be a consensus of the way forward. Yes, we are seeing new developments that largely um, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, the leader of the Kwankwasia movement in Kano and the northern parts of Nigeria, and he is now moving from NNPP to join the ADC. So there's these permutations that are being made that some say Peter Obi is likely going to be the candidate, the Kwankwaso will not be the running mate. I've seen news report that said that Kwankwaso gave certain conditions to ADC, and those conditions ADC have agreed to. So what are those conditions that the ADC will give to Kwankwaso? Kwankwaso has clearly stated he either wants number one or two. That is why he did not join APC. He either wants to be the presidential candidate or the running mate, the vice presidential candidate. And so when APC met him to see if he could switch, he told them either he wants since the APC has the ruling president, he wants to be two. And apparently the president said no. So that similar gesture would have been made to ADC. So, and he is from the north, is from Kano State. So, if there is any agreement, it will likely be a two. It will likely be a running mate. And that means that it's likely ADC would likely produce a southern presidential candidate. Then Kwankwaso will now be two. But some have suggested that Kwankwaso could be one, then others will now be two. But the more likely scenario, considering that Kwankwaso is just joining ADC, there have been people who have been there. The more likely scenario is a southern candidate like Peter Obi or Rotimi Amaechi or someone else, then with the Kwankwaso as a running mate. That is a likely scenario. But that one, where does that leave Atiku Abubakar, who is clearly interested in running and who is running? And that's the problem. There are big egos in the opposition. Will these egos, allow, bring down their egos and choose to to support a consensus candidate that have a higher chance of winning? Well, time will tell.